Hi, how's it going? Charles Botenston here. Today we wanted to talk about, obviously, issues that you may be having in your life, some stress that you might be having in your life, things that aren't going the way that you want, and you have a problem, or you have an issue, or you're stressed out. And the reason I do the air quotes is because you're the one that's actually putting the label on it. You're the one that's actually making it stressful. So in other words, Tony Robbins says that the size of your problems is direct result to how much money you're making, to the how much impact you're having on the world. If you stub your toe on your bed and you get mad and it ruins your day, what kind of problems are you solving? However, if you get an email from millions of people because of something that you did wrong, what's the size of the problems? You know, if you look at the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, he gets an email from millions of people if there's a bug on the iOS system. Like I said, if you stub your toe or you drop your keys or you drop your phone, if that's a big deal, what are the size of your problems? You have to increase the size of your problems in order for you to get money. Because when you increase the size of your issues, your problems, your stress, and by the way, we could talk about the labels in a second, is that the amount of value that you give, the amount of problems that you solve is in direct proportion to the amount of money that you make. So if you solve 10 problems, it's all you're going to get paid for. If you solve thousands or millions of problems, that's what you get paid for on a grand scale. If you're filling needs to millions of people, perfect example. I forgot who it was. They said, listen, if you want to make $1 billion, serve 1 billion people. That's how you make $1 billion. You want to make $1 million? You got to you have to provide value for millions of people or 1 million people. So now let's go into the actual label. Okay, we say problem or issue, or this came up and it's just really stressful in my life. My girlfriend, or my financial issues, or my health, or my parents are just nagging me, my spouse, someone at school, someone at college, my teammate, my client, whoever. They're just nagging me. It's all these issues that are happening. Okay, well, first of all, let's just discuss the label that you're putting on it. Okay, so we obviously said that if it's a grand scale, that's a good thing, because that means you're serving a lot of people. Okay, if it's just one-on-one, yeah, it could be your spouse. That's kind of a big deal because it's your spouse, you're married to them, you're going to see them constantly one-on-one. But if you call it a problem, if you call it stressful, there's no way to actually find a solution, because the way you're labeling it, you're labeling it negative. If you label it stressful or a problem or an issue that's negative, your brain automatically says, you know what? I don't know how to solve it. And then you become a victim. Okay? So the first step is you call it a challenge. All right? You call it a challenge. It's not an issue. Bankruptcy or breaking up, yeah, you know what? It sucks. Okay? Tony Robbins says he gives himself, regardless of the size of the problem, and he serves millions of people a year, millions, tens of millions. I don't even know how many at this point. But he says he gives himself 90 seconds to be pissed off and to really soak in the problem, to get his emotions out. And then he goes, okay, boom. Resets himself, recalibrates, and then gets right into the solution. And he says he calls it a challenge. Okay, our website is down. This is a challenge. If you call it a problem, that's exactly what it's going to be. If you call it a challenge, if you call it a problem, that's exactly what it's going to be. If you call it a problem, that's exactly what it's also going to be. But it's in a positive note. You start looking for solutions when you call it a challenge. Perfect example is that over this weekend, I had a bike ride. And on Saturday, I woke up, I had to actually officiate a race. And then I was like, you know what? I had a race on Sunday, but on Saturday, I wanted to get my legs, warmed up, juiced up, and everything else. So I went for a ride, blah, blah, blah. I went a lot further than I wanted to because I ran into someone and he said, yeah, we're going to go up over the hills, da, da, da. So I ended up doing 75 miles on Saturday. That's fine. I've done 75 miles on my bike before, not a big deal, but not right before a race. And on Sunday, this was a really, really hard race. Not only was it a really hard race, it was a very hilly race. In other words, there was a lot of climbs. I don't know if you've ever been on a bike where there's a lot of climbs, but it is grueling. You're breathing heavy. You want to give up. Your whole body's saying stop. You need to slow down, whatever. And then on top of that, I actually crashed. This is just my arm. My leg is really messed up as well. So I had every excuse to actually give up. And instead of saying, it was raining, I crashed, it's really hilly, I did 75 miles the day before, and this is a 60-mile race, I easily could have said, look at all these problems in front of me. But every time I reached a hill, I looked at it, and I'm on a flat road, and I looked at the hill, and most riders say, oh shit, here we go. I looked at it, and I said, here's a challenge, and then here's the second part. I said, yes. Here's a challenge, yes. All right, let's do it. And then as I pedaled up the hill, I'm saying, yes. I'm incanting this in my head. So two things happen. When you do this, two things happen. Number one is that you take your attention off the pain, you take your attention off the problem, and you literally focus on just each step. In my case, it was each pedal going forward. So I didn't say, oh my God, look at this problem. Oh my God, look at this issue with this huge hill. I say, here's a challenge. And then as I started going up the hill, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And here's the third part. And obviously, put this in your life. Find out what in your life, you could be having it at school, work, business, starting something. The way you frame it and the way you think about it, if you frame it as an issue, it's going to be an issue with no solution. Frame it as a challenge and you say yes. And ironically enough, to go along with that, as you're doing it, you could say yes, yes, yes. But when an issue first happens, in other words, as a challenge first happens, this Navy SEAL, I actually have it right here on my refrigerator, this Navy SEAL, very hardened combat Navy SEAL, anytime a challenge enters his life, he says good. 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 I'm glad I'm going through this breakup, this bankruptcy, this divorce, this whatever. And he's gone through a lot. He's lost a lot of his comrades. He's lost a lot of his friends, financially, and just, as a Navy SEAL going into Afghanistan and Iraq and just all the issues and things like that. When you frame it in the positive, and listen, he didn't want it. He didn't want these challenges. It's how you frame it. That's it. So you first say, okay, this is a challenge. You say yes, and then you say good. All right, what can we learn from this? And literally, so he was the leader of the platoon, and his platoon looked at him not only for guidance, but inspiration and motivation going into a firefight, going into a mission, going into an ops, whatever the case was. So they looked at him and they said, listen, we're short on water or ammo or maybe vehicles or support, aerial support. And he said, good. What can we learn from this? What can we do? Because if you say crap, you're automatically telling everyone below you that this is an issue, this is a problem, and we may not make it out, which is putting you in the victim mindset. There's nothing that bothers me more than people that put themselves in the victim mindset. So number one is call it a challenge. Don't call it a problem or an issue or this is stressful. How you label it is extremely important. So call it a challenge. All right, here's a challenge. Number two is, as you're doing it, say it's working out or you're studying or you're taking a test, whatever you're going through, just say yes, yes, yes. And your brain will keep on advancing. If you say no, 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 did you hear it? Like my body language went down. I started looking lower. My voice went down a little bit as well. Is that if you say no, 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 your body's like, all right, I'm giving up. I want to survive. You withdraw. You're not as creative. You don't look for solutions. And then it immediately happens. You just say, good. What can we learn from this? This breakup, this failure, this business that didn't go the right way. I lost business. A client said, go screw yourself. So those are the three ways that you can actually overcome something in your life. Challenge, say yes as you're doing it, and say, good. What can I learn from this? I can't even explain how helpful this is, because there's going to be, and as the issues rise, back in the day, I failed the test. Okay, that's a big deal, but not really, because I have many other tests. If I lose a client now, all right, that's a big deal. But if my company starts going down financially, that's a big freaking deal, because that's hurting dozens, hundreds of clients. I'm also in the financial well-being of all the employees that I have, and also for myself. So it's a lot of people, affecting a lot of people. But as you rise up, your problems get bigger. And the way you frame it is even more important. So I hope this helps. Subscribe if it does. Leave a comment below on an issue that you're having that you can't see how it relates to you. I know this is a very general video, but there's a lot of people that actually have completely different issues than what I'm having. So I hope this relates to you, and let me know which one actually stands out. So have an awesome day. As Tony Robbins says, live with passion. Let me know in the comments below. I'll join in the discussion. Have an awesome day. Talk to you soon.